Our panel discussion today, the title is about the future of sustainable building management. I would like I think Richard already introduced everybody. I would start with our questioning. I will start with Mr. Mohammed Gharaibi. How are you? I would like to start our discussion with what is the biggest challenge facing sustainable building management as we look forward to 2030?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you, Maher, for the question, and thank you, SIBCA, for inviting us being here. Such an amazing event for the second year. Mr. Ibrahim, special thanks to you for the invitation. So one of the major challenges, I'm sorry I'm taking time, but one of the major challenges is integrating the technologies and integrating the advanced technologies with the traditional building practices, because you need to make sure that both of them are truly sustainable and both of them are economically viable. Everybody today spoke about the cost and the resistance for the building owners that, oh my God, you are going to change a lot of systems now. You are going to implement new solutions. That means that it will cost me money. Everybody, unfortunately, in this industry is thinking about the CapEx. Nobody is thinking about the OpEx. Nobody is thinking about the future vision. If you are doing this right now, how much you will save in the future. So these are, I think, the major challenges which integrating the advanced technologies. Thank you.
I bet every CFO is thinking about both.
Yes, especially the CFOs.
I will stay with you, Mr. Mohammed. How do you foresee the role of technology in driving sustainable building practices by 2030?
I think, and we all know right now in this era that advanced technologies and the technologies are the instrumental role playing in the advance and the providing and improving a lot of technologies to our buildings. What are the technologies? The data-driven solutions, the automation, and even though other than automation, the integration for the operation. All of these technologies will give us the artificial intelligence, the AI, the IoT, and all of these technologies that we are hearing about them today will be something standards in our buildings, and that will take us to a very sustainable buildings to reduce the environmental impact and also to reduce the carbon emission in the future. This is what I think the technology is affecting in our industry.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll move to Dr. Mohammed Tayyib. Welcome. How can we make green buildings more affordable and accessible by 2030?
Making green buildings more economically viable would be the biggest challenge over the next 5 to 10 years, because now new regulations are coming in. There is competitive edge, so that requires that we provide sustainable buildings at the cheapest possible cost. So that would be achieved in the selection of material, the type of control system which can provide. Our colleague Fahmi was discussing multiple ways we can put in those control systems. Earlier, there was a brief discussion about this algae, which is consuming or absorb CO2. So if we think on those lines, there are certain building materials can play that role, certain types of cementing material. All this combination of these things would make our sustainable buildings economically viable. And plus, you need to create a demand. And if there is a demand, definitely then competition will rise and prices will go down and product will be commercially viable.
Thank you, Dr. Tayyib. We all know that COP28 is coming to the UAE next month, and we know how much the UAE government is pushing for sustainability and making it one of the top priorities on the agenda. My next question would be to you, Dr. Tayyib, sorry. How has the UAE's approach to sustainable building management evolved over the past decade?
It has really transformed. I remember about 15 years ago or 16 years ago, whenever I used to drive towards Dubai airport, one building would always catch my eyes. Nothing special about that building, only thing was it had a lot of plantation on its facade. It was always eye-catching. And then, so I thought, okay, that's the main thing, but no, that is nothing compared to now the overall impact of the buildings. How much energy is consumed. So now we need to make sure that buildings are energy efficient. Water consumptions, how much water we are consuming, how much we are recycling, etc., other utilities. And then the management of the waste, the collection of the waste. And earlier, again, I will go back to Fahmi's message that in the health industry, when they open the door once and close it, although nobody would normally think of it, but it has a major impact. Use of elevators, all these things would be driving the shape of sustainable buildings. So over the next 5 to 10 years, I'm looking at very smart building, right from the construction material, control material, and also the people who would be populating those buildings, they would be highly educated and well-aware people.
Thank you, Dr. Tayyib. Appreciate the answer. I'll move now to Dr. Mariam Lari. What role does safety play in the vision of sustainable building management?
So when it comes to safety, safety is not just a checkbox, as we like to think about it. We like to see it as a holistic approach where we combine sustainability with safety. So when we do that, we're able to focus on both aspects of not just the people, but also the planet, as well as looking after the profit as well. So when it comes to people, that would look like, for example, ensuring ergonomically safe workspaces, recycling that would come under the planet, and profit. So that would be like retails, having buildings that would be safe for the environment.
Thank you so much. I'll move to Dr. Abrar. How will AI and machine learning shape the future of sustainable building management in the UAE by 2030?
All right, yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. So the role of AI is usually about enablement of things being smarter, right? So when we talk about AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI is all about how we possibly utilize these kind of technologies to really operate more efficiently, right? So right away in sustainability, we will think about the building management optimization, right? And in terms of optimization, we need to really get smarter of understanding the consumption of stuff, right? So it's all about, start with the understanding the consumer behavior, usage, patterns. Usually history tells us a lot how to really operate in the future. So if we really monitor and understand how the consumption in terms of energy and in terms of other side of the equations, whether it's data coming from many sources, and then we will be definitely capable to at least understand how to adapt better, right? And how to operate efficiently, whether it's predictive maintenance, whether it's energy optimization in terms of consumption, whether it's better life for everyone. That's basically how the systems need to be integrated with AI. So the buildings need to be becoming smarter, right?
Thank you so much. Now, I'll stay with you, Dr. Abrar. Now, we've talked about COP28 and we talked about the sustainable building management. The next question is, how can technology providers help in collecting and integrating relevant data sources that are vital to achieving UAE's vision of sustainable building management by 2030?
All right, so your question is about data, right? Data
Correct.
is the fuel of the algorithms. I think everybody understands the formula, right? Data, algorithms, analytics and outcomes, and the loop feedback, right? So data availability for these kind of sustainability buildings, which everybody understand that we have multiple data sources, right? We can talk about also IoTs, Internet of Everything, in terms of devices. So in case we have such amount of data, then we need to have a capable platforms to consume these kind of data, right? Augment them, cross them with each other, understand the correlation, and then generate the analytics and the insights. If we are not able to really produce as a market technology providers, if we are not able to produce such amount of data platform capability where we need to connect data with each other and make sense of them in real time, we will definitely fail to really develop a reliable solution for the sustainable providers and sustainable professionals, right? So that's the side effects of both data and the platforms and the technology providers of AI. They need to have both of these kind of equation dimensions.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Doctor. Appreciate it. Mr. Jomi, how are you? In terms of connectivity, how are sustainable buildings evolving to meet the demands of the digital age?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mahar, for the question. I'm glad this question is coming after lunch because it's mostly a repetition of what my colleagues have spoken about in the morning, right? So buildings have come a long way in terms of sustainable management. In the 1960s, it was about isolated building controls, which evolved into integrated management systems. And today you have smart and digital buildings, right? And all this technology is enabled by technology as well as connectivity. Connectivity is like the backbone of this transition. It's considered to be like the fourth utility today, like the gas networks, the water networks, or the electricity networks. Without connectivity, almost no use case, no sustainable building management use case is possible, right? Now, sustainable buildings also produce a lot of data. The more granular the data, the better. As my colleagues have mentioned before, this data is collected through multiple sensors, put through building management systems, and then it is used and actuated in real time for use cases like demand management, waste management, water management, or even predictive analysis, right? These systems have also now evolved to be on the cloud, like JCI's OpenBlue or DAR's Para system, right? And since they're on the cloud, they're constantly exchanging data and using AI and machine learning algorithms like SIBCA's Connect platform to identify patterns in the building usage. Now, all this connectivity is possible only if you have robust, reliable, and resilient wired and wireless networks, for which the technology in wired and wireless networks have evolved as well. My colleague Dr. Ala presented before this about the evolution of wired systems. You had traditionally the copper cable system, which has evolved into high-performance copper, fiber optic, a combination of that where you need to deliver both power and data to the loads. So obviously the selection of wired technology will depend on the data, the bandwidth, and the routing that is required. Similarly, wireless technologies have evolved. You have technologies like Sigfox and LoRaWAN now, which allow collection of data from large distances at very low power. Finally, buildings need to also prepare for tomorrow when building management will be more autonomous. And when it will be more autonomous, there will be higher data requirements, more bandwidth requirements, and it is important to plan for that connectivity today because it's not easy to overhaul the connectivity infrastructure of a building like replacing the peripheral devices with Wi-Fi, right? So frameworks like Spire from UL can help to assess these buildings for today as well as tomorrow's requirements.
Fantastic. Since you and Mr. Sudhi earlier mentioned the Spire program and the UL initiatives, I would like to ask you the following question. What is a third-party certification and/or inspection important? Why is the third-party certification or inspection important for evaluating smart and sustainable building management?
Sure. So as mentioned, buildings are dealing with many conflicting goals, right? It's not just about reducing the energy bills or providing a positive user experience, but also they have to meet several safety and security building codes, like Dr. Sajid Raza mentioned in the morning. There's also, with COP28 and with the expectation of the climate goals, they need to meet increasing emission norms. There's an expectation that buildings need to provide a positive social and environmental impact, right? So the challenges of buildings essentially are multidisciplinary, right? And so essentially it's a case of optimization. And this optimization can be achieved using smart technology, right? But with smart technology, it needs to be carefully deployed and properly integrated if you really want to unleash true value. If this is not done, it will result in less than optimal outcomes and wasted capital investments, right? Now, this is where a third party plays a big role, because a third party like UL will bring independence in the assessment of a building. They are neutral, not aligned to any one service provider or OEM, and so any recommendations are very forthright and can be used in a neutral capacity. Another way in which third-party assessments are done to third-party frameworks like UL's SPIRE program. Now, these programs tend to be forward-looking, right? So they tend to look at not just today's needs, but also at tomorrow's needs. And hence, you're sort of pushing the envelope of building performance, right? Because in the day-to-day usage, building owners and operators get busy with their day-to-day issues, and they lose sight of horizontal risks and opportunities, right? So a third-party assessment can help to unearth those inefficiencies, identify those gaps, and essentially increase asset value.
Thank you so much. Last question to Dr. Larry. How can safety management be utilized effectively in sustainable building management?
So our aim is to reduce workplace hazards as much as possible. And this would include, like I mentioned previously, ensuring that the place is safe, not just for the people, but as well as for everything inside. So things like, for example, when during building, we have to ensure that there are emergency exits in place, ensuring that the building is equipped for managing disasters. And basically, if we are able to continuously intertwine sustainability with safety, we will be able to sustain this not just in the present, but also in the future as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the panelists. Thank you for your time.